After Dark Souls 3, it's a huge relief to see Sorceries perform so well in Elden Ring. Even in the network test, there's a large variety of interesting spells. Glidstone Pebble takes the place of Soul Arrow. It's a simple, straightforward damage spell. It's similar to Farron Dart in that it can be chain casted to rapidly hit targets. Its damage is pretty good, and it carried me through most of the network test. Glidstone Arc was a nice surprise. It fires a wide projectile that pierces enemies. It's incredibly good for damaging multiple targets. Like most other offensive spells in Elden Ring, Glidstone Arc has a surprisingly good chance of staggering enemies. This makes it highly effective for crowd control, especially as it's quick to cast, and can be chain casted like Glidstone Pebble. Carrion Piercer conjures a giant lance that deals great damage. It's a little slow to start, but makes up for it with surprisingly long range. This spell can be aimed late in the cast animation, making it great for surprising enemies in PvP. The charged version has a very high chance to stun enemies, including bosses. It's also one of the better spells to use on horseback. Briars of Sin causes thorns to erupt around the caster. It's one of the rare fast AoE sorceries, like Soul Flash in Dark Souls 2. This type of spell can be great for pure casters, who need tools to discourage enemies from getting close. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to deal great damage, nor does it seem to be good for staggers or knockdowns. It also both damages the caster and builds up hemorrhaging. I'm not sure how to best use this spell. If it causes hemorrhaging for targets it hits, it might be a way to whittle down tough enemies. The description for Briars of Sin suggests it scales with faith, but I wasn't able to confirm in the network test. Meteorite calls a trio of meteors to rain down on enemies. Charging the spell causes another meteor to land in the center. Each meteor does decent damage, but the spell costs a lot of FP, and only seems to be worth casting if multiple meteors hit, or a meteor strikes multiple enemies. Since the spell's range is deceptively short, I found it hard to use in the network test. I think it might be best to use on larger enemies and bosses. Magic Bubble is a really strange spell. It fires a group of slow-moving projectiles that linger a bit before they dissipate. The charged version is a bit stronger and lingers a bit more, but the spell deals very little damage overall. It's also hard to actually hit targets due to its short range and slow projectiles. So far, I've only heard of one good use for the spell. Apparently it can be used to blind trolls, but I wasn't able to try that myself. Maybe there's other niche but effective uses for the spell.